Athletic director is Pete Bavacqua. He was on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday, unloading on the ACC in the wake of the college football playoff snub.
We were mystified by the actions of the conference to attack, their biggest really business partner in football and a member of their conference in 24 of our other sports. And I would tell you, Dan, I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't say that they have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame.
So those are very strong words. The commissioner of the ACC is Jim Phillips. His statement that he released in response says the University of Notre Dame is an incredibly valued member of the ACC. There's tremendous respect and appreciation for the entire institution. With that said, when it comes to football, we have a responsibility to support and advocate for all 17 of our football-playing member institutions, and I stand behind our conference efforts to do just that. Leading up to the committee selections on Sunday, at no time was it suggested by the ACC that Notre Dame was not a worthy candidate for inclusion in the field. So we have that on top of everything else, and we have this outstanding panel. We got Heather, we got Paul, and Pate, I'm starting with you because we didn't have a chance to get with you on this part of it yesterday. What is your reaction to the way Notre Dame responded yesterday?
I just continue to picture someone who is not familiar with college football watching this happen and what they must be thinking. Pete Bavacqua, a lot of what he said yesterday was accurate, and that's coming from me, a guy who thinks the committee got the rankings right. But as far as the shots at the ACC or his take on the way the ACC handled their duty as a conference, Jim Phillips' response there was pretty spot on. Far be it for me to defend the decision-making in the ACC because it's been a disaster recently. Their own tiebreaker system led to a lot of this mess. But Jim Phillips is right. He looks back and says, wait a second now. You guys kind of have this make good relationship with us. You're not in this conference. Miami is. Like, we're going to stump for members of our conference. It's our duty. It's my duty as the commissioner of this league. And to push back on that, again, it just gets you one step further removed from what the real mess is in this. And it's the process overall. Pete Bavacqua did a really good job yesterday of putting the crosshairs on the committee's process a whole lot. That's what the focus should be. All the rest of this just loses the focus on where it should be to me.
What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think the permanent damage part of what Bavacqua said is very interesting. So are they going to drop out of the ACC? I mean, if you're going to make those type of threats, I'm very interested in seeing what you do. As far as the ACC is concerned, I mean, they've made a mess out of this, as Josh just said. They could have corrected the tiebreaker system, but they didn't. But the real mistake they made was not only to advocate for Miami, but to rub it in, Greeny. They have their own network, the ACC network. Last week on the ACC network, the only thing you saw was Notre Dame and Miami. That was a shot across the bow.
So Heather, and by the way, for anyone who didn't see the interview, you have to see the whole thing. It was a terrific job by Dan, who really let Pete Bavacqua talk and go on, and he said a lot of really strong stuff. Heather, what does it all add up to? I mean, I think Paul is bringing up the right question. For those who don't know, Notre Dame is affiliated with the ACC basically in all sports save for two, one of them being football. So what does it all add up to in your mind, Heather?
Well, in my mind, what it all adds up to is more public discourse that pushes college football fans away from all of this. I feel like a lot of people are already really disenchanted by this process. And people need to realize that Pete Bavacqua and Jim Phillips are part of the group who determines the college football playoff. And instead of being against each other right now, everyone needs to act like adults and fix the college football playoff for the future. They have to make it the best they can for college football fans, coaches, and players. And Notre Dame's athletic director and the ACC commissioner, all 10 FBS commissioners, they are responsible for the future of the playoff. So if you don't like it, fix it.
All right, so then let's go right down the line. Josh Pate, what's one way to fix it? If I made you commissioner tomorrow, not of a conference, but of the entire thing, what's the first thing you would do to try and solve this problem?
I'd love to really standardize the tie-breaking process, Greeny. I could go a million different ways, but I mean, one of the very simple things is take the ACC, for example. We had a 5-way tie in the ACC. And the reason, I get to the public, it makes no sense, but Miami's sitting there ranked really high and they were tied for one of the spots and they didn't get it. Why is that? Well, because the tiebreaker isn't what it should have been. The tiebreaker should have been college football playoff rankings. If you've got all your teams equal, I mean, try to put yourself in the best position, do what Heather just said, and do what's best for fans, do what's best for the overall product, and you're trying to figure out who to put in your conference title game, and you need to break ties, you probably need to find a way to break them where the team in the top 15 of the playoff rankings goes over a 5-loss team that's ranked outside the top 40 of the AP. That's one thing I do.
How about it? What else, Paul?
Yeah, well, it's time to get rid of the G5 schools. And I know how they got in there. It was a compromise. But America does not want to see Tulane, nor do we want to see James Madison in the college football playoff. This is great in the NCAA basketball tournament, Greeny. There are 68 schools. There are only 12 here, and we don't need them around. And I'm not going to give you the with all due respect, because I don't really care about Tulane or James Madison. They're both going to lose by 25 to 45 points. They'll be unwatchable games, and get them out of a playoff.
Actually, Tulane and Ole Miss have played each other already this year, so we've seen that game. Now we're going to all get to see it again. Everyone at my desk is hysterical laughing, and I think all feel a little badly about the fact that we tend to agree with what Paul is saying. Heather, you were shaking your head. You're saying that's not going to happen.
Well, because there will be legal repercussions if you try to squeeze out the group of 5 from this. And I can tell you the agreement that was signed for the next 6 years does include the group of 5. But I want to remind people, Boise State, Ashton Genty. I mean, there are such great stories. And if the ACC had fixed its tiebreaker, we wouldn't be talking about JMU. This is an anomaly, not a trend. And the reason the college football playoff was so exciting in the 12-team playoff, to go back to the conference championship games again for a minute, is because you are paying attention to the Sun Belt for the first time in your lives if you're a casual college football fan, because it impacts who your Ole Miss team might play. And so the fact that you have an interest in a pool that goes all the way down to the 25th team in late November, I think is cool and fun for some fans. And I might be the only one on this panel who thinks that, but the reality is it engages far more people and far more fan bases.
So I have less than a minute left, but very quickly for Josh and Paul, do you feel that Notre Dame comes out of this? Do they look bad? I'm hearing a lot of people very critical of the way they're handling this and sour grapes and whatever else. Josh, quickly, do you think Notre Dame comes out of this looking bad?
I think they look terrible, and they don't have to, because Pete Vivacqua would have stuck to what I thought was a great talking point that he hit on Dan Patrick's show yesterday, which was just, we have respect for all those other teams. The process is what really screwed us. He's right about that. That should be the hammer home point 10 times out of 10 instead of all the other nonsense. There's so many shades of gray to this.
What do you think, Paul?
Newt Rockne somewhere is rolling over in his grave. This is an embarrassing, pathetic moment for Notre Dame.
That seems like a good place to leave it. Guys, thank you very much. Josh Pate, Paul Finebaum, Heather Dinich. It was exactly what we were looking for. Thank you, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Coming up, back to the pick party in L.A. We'll show you how the Chargers shocked Jalen and the Eagles. Can Philly avoid another late season collapse?